Imagine that you go to the grocery store and you're going for your mango slices and your sparkling water or whatever it is that you're going for. And as you're walking down the hallway, you realize that you're having some trouble breathing. And then you're getting hot and cold and your heart is racing and your vision is blurry and you feel like you're either going to throw up or pass out or all of the above. Well, that is what happened to me last month. And, for those of you who know me and my story, anxiety and panic attacks are not something that are foreign to me. It's part of my story. However, I haven't experienced a panic attack in a very, very long time. And so this came out of nowhere. And in the moment, I'm thinking, okay, is this asthma? No, it wasn't asthma. I was in a store. And of course, I'm wearing one of these masks like most of us are doing. And I'm thinking, what on earth is this? Why now? Why all of a sudden? Why is this even coming back? And that's what I have been dealing with for almost the last month, really. And trust me, there's no reason for me to share this unless I knew that there are other people who are experiencing anxiety and panic attacks as well, not just as a result of wearing a mask, but just as a result of living in and during a pandemic. The only reason why I'm sharing this is that there's still discrimination. There's still a stigma, a stench, a film around anyone who's experiencing mental health challenges, mental illness. It's still happening in our society. And so I'm hoping tonight that I will dispel all of the myths of what a person who deals with anxiety or panic attacks, what they look like, what they sound like, what they're able to do. Yes, I'm still functioning and working and doing and writing and everything else while dealing with many and not so many panic attacks. So, Natasha, what do you do when all of this is going on? First, I want to give, the difference between panic and anxiety attacks. Anxiety attacks can usually be traced to an experience, an event, a situation that brings in some fear, apprehension. I'd call it elevated nervousness. You can typically understand, and being quite honest and transparent, I do and have lived with a form of anxiety for a very long time, and I deal with that. I manage it. That's not the issue. Panic attack, however, comes out of nowhere. It's debilitating. It takes over your entire world and life and moment, and there is nothing else in that moment that matters besides fight or flight. That's where your amygdala, the animalistic part of your brain that freezes, wants to fight or flight, comes in. It's urgent. It's an emergency. Everything in that moment is 911, red flashing lights, abort mission, must get out of here. And I've been dealing with both for the last month out of nowhere, and it's okay. So what did I do? When I realized the first instance happened in the grocery store, what did I do? The first thing that I did is I needed to trace what was going on in my life at that time. I needed to think about, Natasha, okay, what's happening? Is it a full moon? No, it's a full moon tonight though. And for those of you who are sensitive to that, take note of that. It's not a full moon. It's not your cycle. What has happened? It started a day or two after me learning that my mentor and friend had died. Well, that's one experience. Why is that a big deal? Well, here's the reality for me. Since last November, 6 people close to me have died. Since March, 10 people I know have had the coronavirus. 4 of them have died. That's a big deal. Panic usually sets in when you have significant life events, significant life happenings and changings, death, job loss, divorce, etc. That's typically when some of these symptoms can arise. And so for me, the first thing that I had to do was I had to check and just be honest with Natasha. Even though you don't feel stress, even though you may not be exhibiting conscious signs of stress, perhaps mentally, emotionally, you are experiencing some stress. Now, what are you going to do about it? Tonight's show is all about how to handle a panic attack. And so I'm going to walk you through what I've done for the last month, what I've done over the course of the last 20 years in order to deal with panic attacks. There is, and I'm going to post this as well, typically I go through my senses. Sometimes, some people advocate doing 5-5-5-5-5 or 5-4-3-2-1. I'm going to tell you the one that is actually most beneficial for me. Here you go. Perfect. The first thing is I breathe. I stand still. If I've got the shopping cart with me, I am just paused and breathing, because in that moment, I need air. I need oxygen. And so I'm breathing and I'm talking to myself. Natasha, you're fine. You're not in any immediate danger. There's no one chasing you. There's no immediate dread. And so breathe. Does that happen? Do I calm down immediately after that? Many times, no. And so what do? I go through my senses. First is 5 things that I can see. So it can be, I can see that man's purple tie. I love that lady's haircut. I love those shoes. There's the corned beef hash. There's some dust on top of the ceiling fan. 5 things that I can see. Then I go through 4 things that I can actually feel. And a baby, I can feel myself. I can feel the shopping cart. I can feel the ground. I can feel the shelf. I can feel this orange. Then you go through 3 things that you can hear. I can hear the air condition. I can hear the music. I can hear this gentleman ask his wife to get the bread. Then it's 2 things that you can smell. I can smell that they use entirely too much Clorox in here. I can smell that lady's perfume. And then 1 thing that you can taste, and that can be, some mints, gum, candy. I also keep lavender oil, essential lavender oil in a spray bottle. I keep that in my purse and I spray myself with it. That's something else that I can spray. And then years ago, I'll post a picture of this. I got a grounding stone. This one says balance. I got this from my therapist, and it's just something that you can hold and connect with. Why do I do this? Why is all of this even necessary, and why does it work? It works because in the moment that you're having a panic attack, there is no rationale. Someone standing next to you can see that a lion isn't chasing you, a bear isn't after you. There's really nothing for you to be afraid of or in that level of panic. When you go through things you can see, hear, feel, touch, taste, what it does for me is it gets me out of my head. It pulls me out of that panic moment. It connects me with the here and now, and I'm able to move on. I can tell you that sometimes it worked, and sometimes I actually had to leave the store, go into the car, take my mask off, breathe, and go at it again. And that's just what you do. Here's what I did not do. And this is as social commentary as I'm going to get. What I didn't do is make wearing a mask someone else's issue. This is my personal issue. I'm wearing a mask because I believe in community, and I believe in ensuring that I protect myself and other people. And just because I legitimately have a medical condition that makes wearing a mask challenging, that does not mean I'm going to make my issue everyone else's issue. I still wear the mask. And I use self-awareness and self-regulation to manage my symptoms and what I'm going through. So what's the point of tonight? The point of tonight is that in our society, there's still people who think that when someone is experiencing a mental health challenge, experiencing anxiety, panic, insomnia, whatever it is, that they are lazy and that it's a character flaw and that there's something wrong with them. And that's why I began tonight's broadcast by sharing that this wasn't an invitation for you to sell me anything. I am, again, very protective of this community. And I just want to make you aware that if you were thinking that people who deal with panic and anxiety are lazy or are in a corner dribbling and drooling, that's not the case. I'm still functioning, still working, still doing everything that I do. And I'm sharing what I'm going through because I know that there are other people experiencing it as well. Sometimes we have to take an audit of what's happening in our lives. And for whether you're watching this live with me or you're going to watch it in a couple days, months, etc., everything isn't always a mental health issue. Sometimes it's a life issue. Sometimes you need to give yourself space to grieve. Sometimes you need to recognize that your work-life balance, and whatever balance means for you, is off. Sometimes it means that you need to go to bed and turn the TV off. Sometimes it means you need to step away from social media. Sometimes it means that you need to connect with a new group of people. Sometimes it means that you need greater support. But no one can determine that but you. And so I share and offer my story for that. I hope that, me sharing tonight gives space and rise for greater empathy. We are in the midst of a pandemic. And for all of us, this is likely the first time in our lifetimes that we've experienced something of this magnitude. And I can tell you from March until now, there isn't a person that I know that has not been impacted by physical distancing, social isolation, layoff, job loss, the coronavirus itself, or a myriad of tethered conditions, ailments, frustrations, etc. Everyone has been accepted. So be a little kinder to yourself. You didn't get it all done today? It's okay. Put it on your to-do list for tomorrow. Be a little patient with people as you drive. Be a little patient in the grocery store. Everyone is dealing with this in their own way. And there's no how-to coronavirus manual. And so I hope that we'll all just extend some grace and some patience to everyone we encounter.